Hello once again everyone and welcome back. This week I decided to take a look at something I discovered thanks to Cora a little while ago, that being the Shrek Musical. Now as I write this, I had just watched Shrek yesterday and I enjoyed it, as of course I had. Today I was browsing through Netflix and I discovered that they had the Shrek Musical Cora has shown me, so of course I decided to watch. Now before we begin, I shall also make note that I haven't really watched that many actual musicals like the Broadway-esque style ones. I have watched some like the Portal Musical on YouTube and the Rocky Horror Picture Show ones, among others, but it's not been something I tend to watch too often, so I do give my apologies if I do not understand some things within this review. Even though I haven't watched many musicals of this sort, I do enjoy them quite a lot, so now without any further ado, let's begin. Hope you enjoy this Cora. This one goes out to you. The musical begins with Shrek being told by his parents that he has reached the age of 7 and that he is being kicked out. The song is quite humorous and I rather enjoy it. The jokes within are quite tongue-in-cheek to me. They are nonetheless hilarious. Shrek evolves soon into his adult self, now enjoying his life alone in his swamp. He makes the point it's not the best, but it's his own world. Nice message there. I like how Shrek is able to make what he can out of his situation. Quite nice. Soon the fairy tale creatures are forced into the swamp by Lord Farquaad. My favorites of these is the wolf from Little Red Riding Hood. Very funny character and might I say an icon. But yes, they are soon forced to the swamp and this is where Shrek comes back and, just like in the movie, is made to set off to find Lord Farquaad to demand his swamp back. Along his journey he finds Donkey and he is quite the funny character himself. Eventually Shrek agrees to let him come along in the journey as the scene fades to a scene with Lord Farquaad and his guards reenacting the scene from the movie where they interrogate the gingerbread man, also known as Gingy. Funny scene. It's from the movie nearly line for line, so I won't go into it much here as you likely already know what they are. The guards then bring in the magic mirror and again the lines are nearly identical to the movie except without the pop music playing when Fiona is selected. Here's where the scene fades to us finding Princess Fiona up in her tower. She sings about one day her prince will come and carry her away and all, and it's kind of sad that she had been waiting this many years, all the way to the age of about 30 through the course of the song. Well, just a guess. I like that the musical has already given some backstory to the characters before the events of the movie began. Very nice touch. Back along after she finishes singing, Shrek and Donkey have arrived at Lord Farquaad's castle. Here they hear the song from the movie singing the praises of Dula. After that funny brief number and potential jab at Disney's It's a Small World After All, we go into the next song, which is where Farquaad sings about how perfect his kingdom is. This song, I feel, is a very major jab at Walt Disney and maybe Michael Eisner too, in the world he tried to create. It's quite funny to me. Walt is often praised in Disney circles as being a big man with big dreams, and thus Farquaad is a short man overcompensating for things. He rules the kingdom as a tyrant, really, and it's sprinkled in hints throughout the song. Also, might I take a moment to say this, but I love how they made Farquaad's actor dress as he had. It's quite great to watch. That song ends to find Donkey covered in mock Disney merchandise, and Shrek understandably ticked off, marching into the raffle to decide who gets to save the princess. Farquaad finds Shrek to be the perfect candidate and sends him off to get the princess. This is followed up by a brief continuation of the previous song about Dula. Then Shrek and Donkey go out on their way and have the ogres are like onions scene from the movie. True people are usually more than meets the eye. Quite often they have layers. Nice symbolism there. This is followed up quickly by a road trip song, which in the movie was a pop song. Within the road trip song, Shrek does talk about how he didn't ask for any of this and really doesn't like Donkey at first. Then there is a Lion King reference and that's hilarious. Unexpected for me, but hilarious. The nonsense going on behind them is excellent. There's also mild swearing in the musical that I find clever. They were also like this in the movie too. Like many jokes from the movie, they are also here in the musical too, which is great as those jokes have never gotten old. The song abruptly ends as they find the bridge to the Dragon's Keep, but as they cross the bridge, the song comes back and it's a complete reversal with Shrek enjoying himself yet Donkey being terrified. They finally make it across the bridge and it's here where I found out that the scene in the movie was a metaphor. Just like the Farquaad being a Disney jab, all this musical is making me finally see those metaphors. The play continues with Shrek telling Donkey to stay in place while he goes off to find Fiona and slay the dragon, just like in the movie. However, the dragon finds Donkey first. There is a musical number and one I quite enjoy that follows. The dragon tries to eat Donkey, but the dragon falls in love instead as Donkey flirts to save his life. Fiona is then found and she is still very much of the Disney princess persuasion and I find it hilarious, especially contrasted with Shrek's don't care attitude. They escape the tower, but it's found that Shrek has yet to slay the dragon just like in the movie. Instead of a chase that ties the dragon as they escape, the gate closes just in time right after Shrek does some impressive fighting moves. Right after the battle scene, they take a breather, and this is where Shrek reveals himself due to Fiona's insistence. Just like in the movie, Fiona doesn't like the fact that Shrek is an ogre. However, it is sunset soon, and this makes Fiona want to camp for the night. She is so demanding here, and in the movie, it makes for great comedy. Also, see thus far that the way Donkey is played, he is quite flamboyant, isn't he? But oh well, he's hilarious. Okay, here's where I shall say that I won't go into each and every song, because if I did, this video would be far too long. The musical is entirely excellent song-wise. Go watch it for yourself if you want the full picture of the songs sung. They are all very well done, and I think they are sung very well. Who knew Shrek could sing after all? But yeah, all the singers are actually quite impressive. I love it. Everyone who has sung for the musical, big approval for you all. Cora, if you're watching, if you'd like to hear me speak about the songs themselves, do let me know, even if you want to hear about just specific ones. But from here, the next day arrives and Fiona is singing about in the forest as she had in the original film. She then finds the Pied Piper and dances with the rats of all things. This is impressive dancing for sure, but I didn't expect it. Eventually, Shrek and Fiona get into an argument over who had it harder growing up, and this is talked over via song. Then they have one over how gross they can be. This is how they really begin to bond together. This scene ends and it cuts back to Farquaad, and thanks to one line given, it makes sense of why Farquaad had banished away all the fairy tale creatures. Interesting how this play answers what wasn't answered in the movie. It's a nice addition for sure. He was wanting to get rid of all of them so the story writers would write about him instead of all the fairy tales. There is then a mention of Farquaad's father, and this is followed by a big song number. Gives some nice backstory to Farquaad's character as well. It's nice once again they give the characters more to the backstories than what the movie had alone. Once that song goes off, it's back to Shrek and Fiona at the sunset scene where Fiona and Shrek have found out they are in love, and thus comes a song explaining all of this. It's interesting both in the movie and here how Shrek thinks he'd never find love, and is not a social sort, but down the road he actually finds he has feelings for Fiona. He thought it never happened for him, but in the end it did, just like the Smash Mouth song from the movie in the end scene, really. It's interesting how an antisocial or maybe even socially anxious ogre can find love. After this, Shrek tries to admit his love to Fiona through song, but as in the movie, it fails. He mishears Fiona and then goes off to order Farquaad to come and get her the next morning. Just like the movie, he then rides off with her to marry. There are some fourth wall breaks here and there, and I love that. Right after this, Shrek and Donkey have an argument in song, replacing the pop song that went there. Shrek is furious and doesn't know the truth, but now he is raging out and he is going to be a mean monster, he exclaims throughout the song. Now comes a scene where the fairy tale creatures have been evicted, and this is not in the movie, though it is a creative scene with some excellent jokes too. I love the unorthodox jokes in the movie and in this musical. They're very entertaining. They get into an argument over which plan they should go with, and it's really well done song to me. Also, there's great jokes in this whole scene and song, and I once again can say that the Big Bad Wolf is an icon and one of my favorite Shrek characters. Eventually, Pinocchio is convinced over to the side of the rest of the fairy tale creatures, and he even makes a gay reference near the end. Great stuff. Back to Shrek and Donkey, they argue just like in the movie, and it's a very realistic argument to me. It's well acted. Just as in the movie, this argument turns things around for Shrek, and he finds this is his chance to go and save Fiona at the wedding. The scene in the church is quite funny too. Shrek then comes running in to stop the marriage from being complete at the last moment, just like in the movie. He confesses his love through song, and here all while Farquaad sits in the corner ridiculing him. Speaking of, Farquaad's acting in this is excellent, and one of the best even in his flamboyant shortness. The wedding comes to an end when Farquaad crowns himself as king. After much commotion with the fairy tale creatures and more happen, Fiona changes into her ogre self as sunset passed. Farquaad commands them all to be locked away, but the dragon bursts in and catches him afire. This leaves the big number where Fiona and Shrek finally both find that they love each other. The song quickly turns into the big final number of the movie, and it is excellent. It brings forth all the characters to sing and brings back the excellent cross-dressing wolf as well. The play ends about there as the song ends. Thus is told the story of Shrek's life from a little boy all the way to finding true love, even if it was unorthodox along the way. Sure, the musical also gathers everyone in to sing the big end number, I'm a Believer, which is from the movie. Yet the main story wrapped up there with the last number, but it was a great touch to add that in at the end. So impressive seeing everyone on stage at once. Alright everyone, that brings us to the end. Now, what were my overall thoughts of the musical? Well, I found it entertaining entirely and enjoyable to watch, and I suggest everyone else go and check it out, either live or via the film I just watched of it. It's a really well put together play, really. All the singing is excellent as well, as of course it would be. It is a Broadway production after all. All the music and acting and everything was excellent. Really nothing I can say negatively about it. I also love the rotating stage this was acted on. Very nice extra touch there, made for some interesting parts of the play and scenery. Overall, it gets my big approval. Go see for yourselves however is possible. Lots of scenes did have lines from the movie as to be expected, so if you enjoyed the movie, you may enjoy this too, though I assume that's how many of you know about this play anyway. Well, would you look at that? The whole video has wrapped up, so it seems. Sure, there's some stuff I glossed over, but I want you to watch it for yourself. And I also would have been here for so long otherwise, especially with all the songs within. But yes, this is the end of our little fairy tale. This has been Natty, and I bid thee a farewell.